Have you ever found yourself frustrated by something that seemed never to happen, no matter how much you wished for it? How many times have you wondered why certain things seem so out of reach, while for others, they seem to fall from the sky? What if I told you that more often than not, it's not a lack of effort, but rather the lack of acceptance of the right timing for things? Imagine someone who works hard day after day, hoping for that promotion at work, the dream relationship, or even just a simple moment of peace. That person could be me. It could be you. It could be any of us. We all share this relentless pursuit of immediate results, forgetting that time is a silent teacher and often a patient master. This is where Stoic philosophy shows us a different path. The Stoics believed there are things within our control and things that are not. Time, for instance, is not something we can manipulate. No matter how much we wish for something to happen faster, time has its own way of putting everything in the right place at the right moment. However, we can control how we react to it. We can learn to accept that everything has its moment, and that forcing something before its due time is like trying to pick fruit before it's ripe. The taste will never be sweet. In this video, we will follow the journey of a person who learns, in a painful way, that accepting the rhythm of life is a key to inner peace. With each challenge faced, with each frustration, this person begins to understand that maybe it's not life that needs to speed up, but rather their own understanding of time and patience. As the Stoic Seneca once said, "Life is not short, we just waste it." The true power lies in understanding that by accepting time as our master, we begin to live more fully. Get ready, because this reflection is going to change the way you face daily challenges. If you've ever felt stuck, not knowing why things aren't happening at the speed you want, perhaps it's time to shift your focus and realize that, in the end, everything happens in its own time, and that acceptance is the key to living with more serenity and wisdom. Before we start, if you are already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and leave a like in confidence that great content is coming your way. And if you're new here, subscribe, as every week I bring videos that can truly take your life to another level. Let's begin. Let me tell you a story. Imagine someone like you, who is always giving their best, striving to grow, seeking answers. Her name is Helena, and like many of us, she always believed that chasing her dreams meant doing everything as quickly as possible. If it didn't happen now, then perhaps it never would. But life had other plans for Helena, and it was from a moment of pause that she understood the true power of patience. It was an ordinary day, and Helena decided to take a walk in the park to try to clear her mind of worries. She walked, lost in thought, but her eyes ended up resting on an ancient tree, immense, with a strong trunk and branches that seemed to touch the sky. Suddenly, it was as if the tree spoke to her. "It took me decades to become what I am, and every minute was necessary." That image stayed with her. That moment, as simple as it was, brought a profound reflection. The best things in life take time. Helena, like many of us, had the habit of comparing her journey to that of others. She saw people around her getting promotions, buying houses, living perfect relationships, and she asked herself, why not me? What am I doing wrong? But then she began to realize that comparison only brought anguish, and that everyone's life has its own rhythm. What seemed like a delay was perhaps just the time needed for her to grow deeper roots. Like that tree, Stoic philosophy came into her life at that moment. Helena found comfort in the words of Marcus Aurelius, "Everything that happens, happens as it should." That made her understand that being patient is not about giving up on your dreams, but about respecting the process. Just like the ocean that shapes the rocks over the years, patience allows life to take its course, without forcing, but with a serene persistence. And now I ask you, how many times have you felt frustrated by something that wasn't happening when you wanted it to? Have you ever thought that perhaps, just perhaps, time was working in your favor, preparing you for something greater? The truth is, we are all like that tree Helena saw in the park. We grow at our own pace, and that's what makes us unique and strong. Helena learned to value every moment, even those when it seemed like nothing was happening. She began to see the value in waiting, in appreciating every small achievement, every step. It wasn't about stopping wanting more, but about understanding that everything arrives when we are ready to receive it. And perhaps that's the secret, not to rush life, but to prepare to receive it with wisdom. What if instead of asking yourself, why haven't I achieved it yet, you started to think, I am preparing for something amazing that is on its way. Just like Helena, maybe all you need is a bit more patience and faith in the process. In the end, patience is an act of self-love. It's trusting that your time will come, and that every second of waiting is part of your growth. Now that we've talked about the value of patience, it's important to understand how to deal with impatience, which so often makes us suffer unnecessarily. The truth is that impatience is one of the greatest causes of suffering, as it forces us to want immediate results, ignoring the fact that true growth takes time. Think of a tree. For a tree to grow strong and healthy, it needs time. Its roots spread through the soil, often invisibly, and it is this solid foundation that will allow the tree to withstand storms and flourish when the right season comes. Just like a tree, our goals also need time to develop and strengthen. There's no point in trying to force the process. Growth doesn't happen overnight. Impatience makes us believe that if we don't see results now, we are failing. But in reality, every small step we take, even if it seems insignificant, is moving us forward and preparing us for something bigger. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "It is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them." Often, it is our expectation that everything should happen quickly that causes suffering, not the fact that we haven't yet achieved what we want. I ask you, how many times has impatience brought you stress and anxiety? How many nights have you lost thinking you weren't doing enough? What if instead of putting so much pressure on yourself, you could trust the process, knowing that everything has its time to happen? Just like the tree that needs years to become impressive, our goals also require time to mature. Resilience in the face of impatience is, therefore, the ability to resist the urge to rush when the moment demands calm and perseverance. It is knowing that every day we strive, every moment of waiting, is strengthening us for the future. Impatience pushes us towards despair, while resilience keeps us steady and confident. Now, I would like to hear from you. Write in the comments what goal you've been trying to achieve, but which seems to be taking longer than you expected. Sharing this can be a way of recognizing that you're on the right path, even if you don't see immediate results. And remember to write a phrase of acceptance such as, "I am planting the seeds now, and at the right moment, I will see the fruits." This will help not only you, but also others who may be going through the same situation, showing that we are all growing together. We talked about the importance of being resilient in the face of impatience and how it can transform our journey. Now, let's reflect on an essential concept for better understanding time: the nature of cycles and rhythms. Just as resilience teaches us to endure periods of waiting, understanding natural cycles helps us accept that everything has a right time to happen. If we observe nature, we can see how everything happens according to cycles and rhythms. Think of the seasons of the year. Spring is the time of rebirth, of blooming. Summer brings plenitude, warmth, and growth. Autumn teaches us to let go, to release what no longer serves us. And winter is a time of introspection, of rest and preparation. Each season has its function and essential role. Life is the same way. Just as we do not expect all flowers to bloom in winter, we cannot demand that all our dreams come true at the moment we desire. There is a deep wisdom in recognizing that life, like nature, has its own cycles. If we are in the winter of our journey, perhaps it's the time to rest and plan, rather than push ourselves for immediate results. And if we are in spring, it is time to plant new ideas and embrace growth. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "No wind favors a ship without direction." Understanding life's cycles and rhythms is like understanding the direction of the wind. When we know that each moment has a purpose, we stop fighting against what we cannot change and start navigating with the natural flow of things. This brings a peace that allows us to face life's challenges with more calmness. I ask you, which season of your life do you feel you are in now? Are you in a period of blooming and growth, or in a time of retreat and introspection? Recognizing where we are in our own cycle allows us to align our expectations and act more wisely, without demanding from ourselves something that doesn't fit the present moment. Write in the comments which season of your life you are in now, and how this affects the way you deal with your goals. Sharing this reflection can help you and others understand that, just like nature, each of us is living a unique cycle, and each phase has its importance. Remember, wisdom lies in accepting life's rhythms and acting according to the moment. After understanding how life follows its natural cycles and rhythms, it is time to reflect on how we relate to our own efforts. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to seek quick results, as if the value of everything lay only in the outcome and not in the journey. Now, let's talk about something that can transform this perspective: letting go of the need for immediate results. Have you ever felt disheartened because you couldn't see the result of your work straight away? This is common, as we are constantly encouraged to measure our success based on visible and rapid achievements. But the truth is that the real power lies in focusing on daily actions, on concentrating on what we can do now, without clinging to the need to see the immediate outcome. Just as Stoicism teaches us, what is truly under our control are our actions, not the results. Imagine a gardener planting seeds. He knows it is no use digging up the soil every day to see if the seed has sprouted. Instead, he tends to the soil, waters the plants, provides enough light, and trusts that, in due time, the plant will grow. We are those gardeners of our own lives. We need to tend to our actions, water them with discipline and patience, and trust that the outcome will come when the time is right. Letting go of the need for immediate results means trusting that if we do our part, life will do its part. The Stoics often spoke about the power of focusing on what we can control. Epictetus taught us that it is not external events that disturb us, but our opinions about them. This means that by placing all our happiness and peace in the outcome of something that is not entirely in our hands, we are surrendering our power. However, by focusing on our actions, on our daily effort, we reclaim this power and free ourselves from anxiety about the future. So I ask you, what have you done that deserves to be valued, even without an immediate result? Have you been dedicated, worked hard, taken care of your mental and physical health? Every small action counts. And when you let go of the desire to see a result now, you start to see the value in simply doing your best. This is where true peace lies, in knowing that, regardless of the outcome, you are honoring your path. After discussing letting go of the need for immediate results, it is essential to understand that our journey is as valuable as our goals. Let's explore how accepting the process for what it is can change the way we see life and free us from the constant anxiety of reaching the destination. Imagine you are on a long walk through a dense forest. The path ahead is uncertain, and you might not even be able to see where it leads, but there is something magical in every step. The sound of dry leaves under your feet, the fresh smell of the air, the gentle warmth of the sun filtering through the treetops. Every step is part of the experience, and if you focus only on the final destination, you will miss the beauty of everything around you. In life, we often forget to appreciate the present because we are too focused on a distant future. We are so concerned with reaching the end of the road that we fail to see the importance of the small moments that make up our journey. Accepting the journey is, above all, recognizing that growth happens with every step we take, not just at the end point. When a caterpillar enters its cocoon, it undergoes a complete transformation. Inside, what was once an ordinary caterpillar dissolves and rebuilds itself, emerging as a beautiful butterfly. If we were to focus only on the end of this process, we might lose sight of the true magic happening in the darkness of the cocoon, the time needed for the transformation to occur. Our lives are much the same. Each of us is going through our own cocoon of transformation, and every part of the journey is essential for us to become who we are meant to be. Scientific research also reinforces the importance of valuing the process. Studies in positive psychology show that lasting happiness is not only linked to achieving big goals, but also to engaging in activities that give us a sense of continuous progress. According to Sonia Lyubomirsky, a psychologist and professor at the University of California and one of the leading experts in the field of happiness, it is the process of working towards our goals that brings us more satisfaction than simply reaching the goal itself. This means that happiness lies in doing, in advancing, in dedicating ourselves, not just in arriving. The Stoic practice teaches us the same thing. We should focus on what we can do today, what is within our reach, and accept the process as an essential part of life. Marcus Aurelius, in his writings, reminds us, accept everything that happens and is woven into your life, for even the darkest threads are part of the fabric. This tells us that every step of our journey, whether easy or difficult, is part of our story and deserves to be embraced with courage and patience. Acceptance of the journey frees us from unnecessary suffering. When we cling only to the outcome, we create an internal resistance that breeds frustration and anxiety. But when we accept the process, every moment gains new value. Think of a river flowing. It doesn't rush to reach the ocean. It simply flows, winding around obstacles, adapting to the terrain. We can learn from the river, understanding that there is a right time for everything and that the beauty lies in each bend, in every movement. Moreover, accepting the journey gives us the strength to face difficulties with greater ease. Often, we see obstacles as something that is keeping us from our dreams, when in fact, these challenges are part of what helps us grow. Every challenge we face teaches us something new, makes us stronger, and better prepared for what lies ahead. As the philosopher Nietzsche said, "That which does not kill me makes me stronger." When we accept the journey, we understand that even difficulties have a purpose, that every stone in the path is an opportunity for learning. Imagine the aroma of freshly brewed coffee in the morning, a small ritual yet full of meaning. Making coffee might seem simple, but if you focus on the process, the boiling water, the smell filling the kitchen, the warmth of the cup in your hands, you will realize that it's not just about the finished drink, but the entire experience. So too is our life. It's not just about the big moments, but every little detail that makes up our story. And what if, instead of always living in anticipation of great achievements, you could find joy in the path you're walking now? Every effort, every small step counts. When we allow ourselves to embrace the present, we begin to see the value of the now. As psychologist Viktor Frankl said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Acceptance of the journey is precisely that, changing our attitude towards the process, instead of trying to control the uncontrollable. Before moving on to the next topic, if you're enjoying the subject, please give a like to motivate me to keep bringing more videos like this in the future. One of the biggest problems that prevent people from achieving success is the lack of focus on their goals and suffering from procrastination. So if you identify with this, I invite you to download my ebook, Overcome Procrastination with Stoic Philosophy, the definitive guide to success. Just click the link in the first pinned comment and start making a change today. Let's continue. Share in the comments a part of your journey that you have learned to accept. It could be a difficult moment that helped you grow, a small ritual that brings joy to your day, or something that seemed like an obstacle but turned out to be essential for your development. Remember, every step you take is important, and sharing your experience can inspire others to also value the path they are walking. Accepting the journey is an act of courage, and together we can learn to walk with more lightness and meaning. After exploring acceptance of the journey and understanding that every step has its value, we need to take a fundamental next step, learning to let go of the immediate outcome and focus on present actions. This is one of the most profound teachings of Stoic philosophy, and when understood, it frees us from anxiety and frustration. We live in an age of instant results. We want everything for yesterday: the dream career, perfect health, the ideal relationship. It seems there is no space to wait and appreciate what is built gradually. But what we forget is that focusing too much on the final result can blind us to the beauty and importance of small daily actions. This is where letting go of the immediate outcome comes in, as a way to reconnect with the present. Imagine a sculptor before a huge block of marble. He doesn't worry about seeing the finished sculpture immediately. Instead, he focuses on each strike, each detail, knowing that, little by little, that shapeless block will come to life. So too is our life. Every action we take, no matter how small, is a careful strike that brings us closer to who we want to become. If we cling to the outcome and expect to see the finished work immediately, frustration and anxiety will take over. But if we focus on the act of sculpting, on the present, we will experience a sense of purpose and peace. The Stoics had a maxim that is especially relevant here: do the best you can with what is within your reach and leave the rest to the universe. This doesn't mean being complacent, but rather dedicating yourself fully to what you can control. If you're studying for an exam, for example, you can control how much you prepare, how much effort you put in, but the final result, whether you pass or not, depends on several factors beyond your control. When you focus solely on your actions, studying as best as you can, being consistent, and let go of the outcome, you find peace in knowing that you did your best. Scientific research in psychology also reinforces the importance of focusing on the process. Carol Dweck, a psychology professor at Stanford University, developed the concept of the growth mindset, which shows that people who focus on the learning process, rather than fixating on the final outcome, achieve more success and are more resilient in the face of challenges. According to Dweck, when you focus on growth, on what you can learn and improve, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities, and the results end up coming as a natural consequence. A good example of this is the act of planting. If you plant a seed, it makes no sense to sit there watching the soil, expecting the plant to grow the next day. What you can do is water it, tend to the soil, and ensure the seed has what it needs to grow. And then, you have to trust the process. Letting go of the immediate result is exactly that. Trusting that if we do our part, nature or life will do its part. Growth will come in its own time. But often, our minds insist on focusing on the results. We want to see the fruits even before we've planted the tree. The Stoic practice helps us to change this mindset. Epictetus said, "Do not expect things to happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they should, and your life will go smoothly." This teaches us that real power does not lie in controlling the outcome, but in embracing our daily actions and trusting in the natural flow of events. A powerful exercise to practice letting go of the outcome is to start each day focusing on just one thing. What can I do today, right now, that is within my control and that contributes to my goals? When we put our energy into the present, into the now, we do our best and let the outcome be a natural consequence of that effort. This way, we free ourselves from the pressure of the future and experience a sense of fulfillment that comes from within, not from something external. Imagine the smell of freshly baked bread that you've made yourself. The pleasure is not just in smelling the aroma at the end, but in every stage, kneading the dough, letting it rise, patiently waiting until it's ready to be put in the oven. Every moment has its value, and the result is merely the sum of all these small actions. The same happens in our lives. If we focus only on what is to come, we miss the joy of each stage, of each small but meaningful achievement. So I ask you, how can you focus more on your actions in the present and detach from the results? What is within your reach today? It could be dedicating an hour to your studies, looking after your health by taking a walk, or simply taking one more step towards a dream. Believe me, every action counts, and the result will come when you least expect it, as a reflection of your continuous effort. Write in the comments an action you can take today, right now, that is within your reach, and that contributes to your goals. By sharing, you not only reinforce your commitment to yourself, but also inspire others to do the same. Remember, the journey is made of every small step, and if you do your best today, you will be building a future that is worthwhile. Letting go of the immediate result is an act of courage and wisdom, a gift you can give yourself. After talking about letting go of the immediate result, there is an even deeper understanding we can reach, fully trusting in the process of life. When we accept that the universe is in constant motion and that everything happens in its own time, we free ourselves from fear and resistance, finding peace even in uncertainties. Many times, we are led to think that we must control every detail of our path, as if the future depended solely on our willpower. But in reality, the universe, or life if you prefer, is in a continuous flow, and trying to fight against this flow only brings us anguish. Trusting the process of life means accepting that greater forces are at play, and that whatever is meant to happen will happen at the right time. Imagine a river flowing naturally, winding around rocks and obstacles. You will never see the river fighting against the path it has to follow. It simply adapts and keeps flowing, finding its course. We often do the opposite. We cling to a fixed idea of how things should be and resist any change that may divert our path. But what if, instead of fighting, we could simply allow ourselves to flow, trusting that we are exactly where we are meant to be? In Stoic philosophy, there is a powerful concept called Amor Fati, which means love of fate. It is not just about accepting what happens, but loving everything that life presents to us, both the good and the difficult moments. Loving fate is trusting that everything that happens is part of our growth, that every experience, whether pleasant or challenging, is shaping us into who we are meant to be. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest representatives of Stoicism, wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." This thought shows us that trusting the process of life means embracing every part of the journey, without reservations, without resentment. When we choose to love fate, we become allies of the natural flow of things, rather than victims of circumstances. Have you ever thought about how many times something that seemed like a disappointment turned out to be a blessing in disguise? Perhaps that missed opportunity made room for something better, or that obstacle made you develop a skill you otherwise would not have. Trusting the process of life means accepting that we do not always have all the answers, and that's okay. There is a greater wisdom that we often only see after everything has happened. Research in psychology has shown that people who have an active acceptance perspective, that is, who accept what they cannot change while still acting purposefully, are more resilient and happier. This active acceptance is very close to what the Stoics call Amor Fati. Instead of fighting against what we cannot control, we can choose to trust that the universe is guiding us and that even difficulties have their purpose. Imagine a storm passing. It may seem frightening while it is happening, but it is necessary to bring renewal, to cleanse and nourish the soil. So too are the difficult moments of our lives. They may seem devastating, but they bring with them lessons and opportunities for renewal. When we trust the process, we begin to see that every storm has a purpose, and that after it comes the calm. I ask you, how would your life be if you could trust the process more? If you could look at each challenge and say, I accept this and I will find a way to grow from this experience? When we practice Amor Fati, we find freedom. We let go of the fear of what might happen and begin to embrace each moment as part of our journey. Now that we have talked about trusting the process of life and loving fate, it is time to deepen our understanding of time. Time is one of the most mysterious and relentless forces that exist. It flows, whether we want it to or not, and every event happens exactly when it should. The Stoic philosophers have offered us powerful reflections on how to view time and live fully and serenely. Seneca taught us that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. This is a truth we often avoid facing. It is not time that is scarce, but our ability to use it wisely. How many times do we waste the present worrying about a future that hasn't yet arrived, or dwelling on a past that is already gone? Time is the gift we have in our hands now, and knowing how to value it is one of the greatest secrets to happiness. Marcus Aurelius, in his writings, constantly reminds us of the fleeting nature of everything. He said, "Only the present moment exists, where our life resides." This reflection invites us to focus on the present moment and understand that trying to control the future is an illusion. The only thing we truly possess is the now, and in it, we should put all our attention and care. Epictetus also gives us an important lesson about the relationship with time. Do not demand that things happen as you wish. Wish that they happen as they must, and your life will be more tranquil. This teaching is directly related to accepting the natural flow of events. The timing of each thing is not under our control, but our reaction to it is. When we stop demanding that everything happen at our pace and start accepting that there is a right time for each event, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. These great philosophers remind us that every second has a purpose, and that the rush to see immediate results can blind us to the true beauty of the present. Just as a flower does not hurry to bloom, everything in life happens according to a natural rhythm. When we respect this rhythm, when we accept time as it is, we begin to live more fully, more presently, and with less anxiety. Think of the cycle of the seasons. There is a time to plant, a time to grow, a time to harvest, and a time to rest. Each stage has its value, and it is the respect for this cycle that brings harmony to nature. So it is with our lives. Each moment has its purpose, and accepting this is the key to a more serene and meaningful existence. Write the word now in the comments. Doing this is a powerful reminder for yourself and for everyone who reads it that the present is all we have. By writing now, you reaffirm your commitment to live in the present moment, to accept time as it is, and to honor the only time that is truly within our reach, the now. Now that we have explored so many facets of time, patience, and detachment, let us conclude with a deep reflection on what waiting can truly teach us. Waiting is not merely enduring the absence of what we desire. It is a process of inner growth, learning, and preparation for what is to come. Waiting, as challenging as it may be, carries with it lessons that shape our character. It teaches us about humility, as it reminds us that not everything is within our control, and that there are greater forces operating in the rhythm of the universe. When we learn to wait, we recognize that we do not have absolute power over life, and this helps us cultivate a sense of humility. We realize that, despite our desires and efforts, there is a right time for everything, and often, it is not up to us to decide. Waiting also teaches us about acceptance. Accepting that the desired moment has not yet arrived is one of the hardest lessons, but also one of the most liberating. Acceptance does not mean giving up on our dreams, but rather trusting that we are exactly where we need to be, doing what we should be doing. It means believing that if something has not yet happened, it is because the time is not right. This acceptance brings us peace, allows us to breathe, and enables us to keep moving forward without the constant anxiety of trying to force events. And finally, Waiting teaches us about self-knowledge. During the waiting period, we are invited to look inward, to understand our motivations, our insecurities, and to grow as individuals. When we accept the journey, when we embrace the time we need to wait, we discover more about who we truly are and what is genuinely important to us. It is during this time that we build our inner strength, learn to trust ourselves, and trust the process of life. Everything comes when we are ready. Often, we desire something without realizing that we do not yet have the internal structure to handle it. It is like wanting to harvest fruit before the tree is strong enough to support it. Life, in its wisdom, gives us what we need at the right time, and part of our growth is learning to trust in that. May waiting be seen not as a burden, but as an opportunity to learn, grow, and prepare. Just as a sculptor carefully shapes a masterpiece, life is shaping us day by day until we are ready to receive what we desire. And when the right moment arrives, we will be prepared, strong, and ready to embrace all that life has to offer us. If this reflection on time, patience, and the value of the journey resonated with you, subscribe to the channel to continue following more content that brings Stoic wisdom into our daily lives. And don't forget to like the video. This helps us spread these messages to more people who, like you, are seeking growth and inner peace. Let us learn together to live with more serenity, acceptance, and trust in the process of life.